Welcome to the channel Stories that bring families together. Here, every story teaches values, awakens emotions, and helps families grow together. We believe that stories have a unique power to connect us, spark conversations, and create lasting memories. Today, you will discover the story of a young boy who finds a new kind of magic, a magic far beyond any screen. This is the world of imagination. Let's begin. Once upon a time, in a cozy little house filled with the sounds of a bustling family, lived a curious and bright-eyed boy named Pedro. Pedro had a very special friend, a sleek, shiny tablet. This wasn't just any tablet. It was his personal portal to a universe of wonders. With a simple tap of his finger, he could dive into shimmering oceans, race super-fast cars on winding tracks, or watch cartoons about superheroes who could fly. It glowed with a magical light, promising endless fun and excitement, and Pedro absolutely loved it. He would wake up in the morning, and the first thing he'd think about was what new game he could download or what new video he could watch. His tablet was like a treasure chest, and he was the captain of the ship, exploring its digital seas every single day. The tablet was a world of its own. It had games that challenged his mind, with puzzles that twisted and turned, and adventures that took him to faraway lands without ever leaving his living room. It had videos of everything imaginable, from funny cats playing the piano to amazing science experiments that made colorful liquids bubble and fizz. It even had music that could make him want to dance, or songs that could help him feel calm. Pedro was completely captivated. He would sit on the big, comfy couch, his legs curled up underneath him, and his eyes would be glued to the screen. The real world around him would just melt away. The sound of his mum cooking in the kitchen, the chirping of the birds outside his window, it all faded into the background as he focused entirely on the vibrant, glowing world in his hands. Hours would pass by like minutes. For Pedro, the tablet wasn't just a toy. It was his whole world. One sunny afternoon, while Pedro was deep into a game where he was building a virtual city, his little sister Laia came into the room. She was holding her favorite teddy bear in one arm and a box of colorful building blocks in the other. Her eyes were sparkling with excitement for a new game. We can build the tallest tower in the world, one that reaches all the way to the clouds. I'm in the middle of a very important level. Pedro continued to play, his fingers flying across the screen. He built his virtual city, he won his race, and he watched another funny video. But after a very long time, a strange feeling started to creep in. He looked out the window. The sun was starting to set, painting the sky in beautiful shades of orange and pink. He saw his sister Leah in the backyard, talking to her dolls. For the first time in a long while, Pedro felt like he had missed something. Just then, his grandfather, Joaquim, walked into the room. Vova Joaquim had kind eyes that crinkled at the corners when he smiled, and he always seemed to know just what to say. He saw Pedro looking sadly out the window, the forgotten tablet beside him. He sat down next to his grandson and put a gentle hand on his shoulder. You know, he said with a twinkle in his eye, the most wonderful adventures don't come from a screen. They come from right in here. And the best part is, imagination doesn't need batteries. Pedro looked at his grandfather, curious. What did he mean? All right, Vova Joaquim announced, this park is no longer a park. It is now the magical kingdom of Videnia. Leia giggled and picked up a handful of daisies, declaring they were fairy dust. Together, they invented incredible adventures. The big oak tree became a towering castle, and the slide was a secret escape route from a clumsy, friendly dragon that only they could see. Pedro found himself laughing, a real deep belly laugh, louder and happier than he had in a very long time. As they ran and played, chasing imaginary monsters and saving the kingdom of Verdania from pretend perils, Pedro felt a new kind of joy. It was different from the quick thrill of winning a game on his tablet. This was a warm, bubbly feeling that filled him up from his toes to the top of his head. He looked over at Leia, who was pretending to cast a magical spell with a flower wand, her face glowing with happiness. He realized that hearing her laugh right next to him was so much better than the tinny sound effects from his game. Building a pretend fort together, sharing secrets, and creating a story that was all their own. Pedro discovered that playing together, really being together, was more exciting and more fun than any digital world. That evening, as bedtime approached, Pedro did something different. Usually, he would ask for his tablet to watch one last video before sleep. His mum came in to tuck him in, holding a book with a colorful cover. She sat on the edge of his bed and began to read a story about a brave knight and a clever princess. Pedro closed his eyes, but he wasn't tired. In his mind, he could see the knight's shining armor and the princess's sparkling crown. The story was even better than a movie because he was the director, creating all the pictures in his own imagination. He drifted off to sleep with a peaceful smile, dreaming of castles and dragons. Pedro finally understood something very important. His tablet was fun, and technology could be a wonderful thing. Screens could be fun for a little while, but running outside, reading a book, building a fort with his sister, and listening to his grandfather's stories, that was where the real magic was. The magic of connection, the magic of creativity, the magic of being present in the real world. That was the secret to true happiness. From that day forward, Pedro became the master of his own fun. He still enjoyed his tablet sometimes, but he used it wisely. He would set a timer, and when the time was up, he would put it away without a fuss. He spent more time outside, discovering bugs in the garden and cloud watching with Lyra. He and Leah became the best of friends, always inventing new games to play together. Pedro learned to use technology as a tool, but he used his imagination every single day, and he had never been happier. He was no longer just a boy with a tablet. He was an explorer, an artist, a storyteller, and a wonderful big brother. What a wonderful journey Pedro went on. He discovered that the greatest adventures are the ones we create ourselves with the people we love. If you enjoyed this story and the message it shares, please consider sharing it with your own family. It might spark a new adventure for you too. The books from the Stories That Bring Families Together collection, filled with more tales like this one, are available through the link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching and joining our community. We'll see you in the next story.